Hello everyone and welcome you all to Quick Solutions for All India Akash Test Series Medical 2020. Today I'm going to take up the zoology part of the paper, which is test paper number 8, code CND in zoology. So let's get started with our very first question. Question number 141. Select the correct statement with respect to muscular tissue and its characteristics. And the very first option given is skeletal muscle fibers are tapered at both ends and are voluntary in nature. And as it is an incorrect statement, so this cannot be a correct answer to our question. Because as you can see here, skeletal muscle fibers are voluntary, striated, multinucleated, and non-branched. So they are not tapered at both ends. On the other hand, it is the smooth muscle fibers which are involuntary, non-striated, uninucleated or have single nucleus and tapered at both the ends. They are fusiform shaped. That is tapered at both ends. The next statement is smooth muscle fibers are multinucleated and fusiform in shape. And this is an incorrect statement, so cannot be a correct answer to our question. Because as we have already seen, smooth muscle fibers are uninucleated and tapered at both ends. The next statement is cardiac muscle fibers are striated and involuntary in nature. And as it is a correct statement, so this is a correct answer to our question. Because cardiac muscle fibers are involuntary, striated, uninucleated and branched muscle fibers. The last statement given is smooth muscle fibers are branched and involuntary in nature, and as it is also an incorrect statement, so this cannot be a correct answer to our question because smooth muscle cells are unbranched and involuntary in nature. So the correct answer to this question is option number 3. Let's discuss our next question. Question number 142. Which of the following statement is incorrect? And the very first statement given is sucrose is a non-reducing sugar. And as it is a correct statement, so this cannot be a correct answer to our question because we know that all monosaccharides, they are reducing sugars. On the contrary, disaccharides such as sucrose is a non-reducing sugar. The next statement is chitin is a homopolysaccharide present in exoskeleton of arthropods. And as it is also a correct statement, so this cannot be a correct answer to our question because chitin is a homopolysaccharide of N-acetylglucosamine and is present in the exoskeleton of arthropods. The next statement is cysteine is a non-essential amino acid because our body can synthesize it. And as it is also a correct statement, so this cannot be a correct answer to our question because cysteine is a non-essential amino acid because our body can synthesize it. On the other hand, those amino acids which cannot be synthesized by our body are essential amino acids. The next statement is nucleoside combines with a phosphate group by a glycosidic bond to form a nucleotide. And as it is an incorrect statement, so this is a correct answer to our question. Because nucleoside combines with phosphate group by an ester bond and not by glycosidic bond to form a nucleotide. So the correct answer to this question is option number 4. Let's discuss our next question. Question number 143. Succus entericus contains, and the options are nucleases, maltase and lipase. Second option is sucrase, enterokinase and amylase. Third option is nucleosidase, lactase and enterokinase. And the last option is lipase, amylase and nucleotidase. And the correct answer to this question is option number 3, nucleosidase, lactase and enterokinase. The very first option given is nucleases, maltase and lipase, and this is an incorrect option because Succus entericus, also known as intestinal juice, contains secretions of brush-bordered enzymes as well as secretion from goblet cells. So the Succus entericus or intestinal juice contains what? It contains nucleosidase, disaccharidase such as lactase, sucrase, maltase, etc., enterokinase, which converts inactive trypsinogen form into active trypsin, lipase, nucleotidase. So the very first option, nucleases, maltase and lipase, is an incorrect option because nucleases are present in pancreatic juice and not in intestinal juice. The next option is sucrase, enterokinase and amylase, and this is an incorrect option because amylase or pancreatic amylase is present in pancreatic juice. The last option is lipase, amylase and nucleotidase is an incorrect option because amylase is present in pancreatic juice and not in intestinal juice. So the correct answer to this question is option number 3, nucleosidase, lactase and enterokinase are present in Succus entericus. Let's proceed to the next question. Question number 144. The partial pressure of carbon dioxide in systemic arteries is, very first option given is more than that in pulmonary vein. Second option is equal to partial pressure of oxygen in systemic veins. Third option is less than that in alveoli. And last option is more than that in tissues. And we know that the partial pressure of carbon dioxide in systemic arteries is equal to 40 mmHg. And partial pressure of carbon dioxide in pulmonary vein is equal to, as you can see here, is 40 mmHg. So this is an incorrect option because PCO2 in systemic arteries is not more than that in pulmonary vein. The next option is equal to partial pressure of oxygen in systemic veins. And as you can see here, partial pressure of oxygen in systemic veins or deoxygenated carrying blood vessel is equals to 40 mmHg, which is equivalent to the partial pressure of carbon dioxide in systemic arteries. So as it is a correct comparison, so this is a correct answer to our question. The next option is less than that in alveoli. And in alveoli, you can see partial pressure of CO2 is 40 mmHg, which is not less than the partial pressure of CO2 in systemic arteries. So this is an incorrect option. And the last option is more than that in tissues. And in tissues, the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is 45 mmHg, which is more than that in partial pressure of PCO2 in systemic arteries. So this is an incorrect option. And the correct answer to this question is option number 2. Let's discuss our next question. Question number 145. Second heart sound is heard during, and the very first option is ventricular systole by closure of AV valves. Second option is ventricular diastole by closure of semilunar valves. Third option is joint diastole by closure of all types of cardiac valves. And the last option is ventricular diastole by closure of tricuspid valves. And you can see here that the first heart sound, which is lub, is produced by the closure of atrioventricular valves, which is what? Which are tricuspid as well as bicuspid valves. And second heart sound, which is dub or dub, is produced by the closure of semilunar valves during ventricular diastole. So the correct answer to this question is option number 2. Second heart sound, that is dub, is heard during ventricular diastole by closure of semilunar valves. The very first option, ventricular systole by closure of AV valves, is an incorrect option because during ventricular systole, the closure of AV valves produces first heart sound and not second heart sound. Third option is joint diastole by closure of all types of cardiac valves, and this is an incorrect option because second heart sound is produced during ventricular diastole or joint diastole by the closure of semilunar valves only. And the last option is ventricular diastole by closure of tricuspid valves. This is an incorrect option because tricuspid valves are atrioventricular valves, and during ventricular diastole, second heart sound is produced by the closure of semilunar valves. So the correct answer to this question is option number 2. Let's discuss our next question.